The Joy Perspective, the podcast where I share life's challenges, things I've learned through years of personal development, and help others shift their perspective and find their joy. I'm Lauren Valdez, and together we'll dive into how changing the way we think can unlock possibilities, spark creativity, and transform the everyday. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The Joy Perspective. Last week, we talked about the word diligence. And this week, we're going to talk about the word chosen. And I want to talk about what if life and every moment was sacred? What if you approached every day from your biggest dreams to even the smallest task like you were chosen to be there? This came up for me this last week while we were in our prayer group time. And it just dawned on me that sometimes we, just like we talked about last week, get into this automation and this robotic type of routine instead of realizing that we are chosen to be exactly where we are. Maybe it's in the most mundane places, like flipping burgers at your work. But when you approach that and when you approach life as if you were chosen to be in that exact spot at that exact moment, think about the joy that that brings you. Life isn't a mistake or just happening to you, but it's about really looking at where you are and bringing purpose to it. You were chosen to fulfill that role, that task, that purpose. And when this kind of came up, I wrote down on a heart sticky note, and I wrote the word chosen. Because when we start to get in those blah moments, or we start to get burnt out, or if you're a mom, I'm sure you can relate to this, or if you're just a busy individual who's jumping from one thing to the next, I'm sure you can relate to this. But when we get into those moments of just, and I want to circle back to the words I have to. We start to feel like we have to do certain things. The reality is we can shift that perspective and bring joy back into what we do by just simply reminding ourselves that I am chosen to be their mom. I am chosen to fulfill this role or this task. And I think that this is something if we all, and I encourage you, just like I did, put a Post-it note, put it on the screensaver of your phone, put it on a rubber band that you put on your wrist. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but you can actually stretch a rubber band, write a word on it, and then wear that. Put the word chosen. So when you're feeling like, I don't want to do this, you remind yourself that there is purpose. There is meaning in what you're doing. You're reframing everyday tasks as purposeful, meaningful assignments. You're also healing your inner narrative. You're no longer telling yourself, you're telling yourself, this has purpose. I have meaning. It's quietly reframing your confidence. It is. From the inside out, you're telling yourself, I am chosen for this. I am capable of this. I am going to do this as big and bold as I can. And I think that that changes so much for us when we reframe the way that we're saying things, when we reframe the way we're thinking about things. It's also living from identity rather than insecurity. I'm going to say that one more time. It's living from identity rather than insecurity. Think about what that means. This has become part of your identity. You were chosen for this. Rather than being insecure about whatever task it is or whatever job it is, you were chosen. Now, I've talked a lot about the mundane tasks and telling yourself that you were chosen in those. But I also want to talk about being chosen for whatever it is you're going after. Being chosen to hustle and make that business work for your family. Or being chosen to be the best teacher you can for those students. You're creating that you were chosen for something rather than you have to earn it. And when we think about our big dreams, when we think about our big goals, Why do we have those? Why do we have those goals? Because we were chosen to have those goals. Because we can accomplish those things. You don't have to be picked to be powerful. You already are because you're here. What position or what dream or what task have you been chosen to fulfill? When you live like you're chosen, even those mundane become meaningful and become powerful. And that's why I'm on here talking about this, because I want to bring that power to you, because the reality is you were chosen to be where you are. You'll start to feel the tug or the aches of being too content. And that's where you need to branch out, step out of your comfort zone, and step into what you've been chosen for. If you're feeling that tug, or you're feeling that ache, ask yourself, what have I been chosen? What have I been chosen to fulfill? I feel like sometimes we get these dreams or these goals and then we downplay them because we're scared. And that's where living in insecurity wants us to be. I don't want that for you. I want you to think about your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, and realize that you've been chosen to have those for a reason. Step into that power, step into that purpose. It's not about proving that you belong. It's remembering that you already do, and you have that tug and that pull for a reason. The invitation is simple. Stop hustling to be seen and start showing up like you're meant to be there. Think about that. Stop hustling to be seen, right? We work so hard at our jobs sometimes because we want others to see that we're doing a good job. And instead, show up like you have purpose. Show up like you are meant to be there. And guess what? Those people at your job that you're trying to impress, you're going to impress them because you're showing up with purpose and intentionality. And more importantly, like you were chosen to be there. I hope as you step into thinking about where you've been chosen to be, that you find joy in being chosen to be there. Thank you for joining me today on The Joy Perspective. I hope this episode helped you shift your mindset and find a little bit more joy in your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss one. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Meet Lauren Valdez for more inspiration and updates. I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Until next time, keep shifting your perspective and finding your joy.